Hey everybody, it's Quincy from All Ears and I am here in Magic Kingdom with a brand new video. I'm doing a full tour of Fantasyland today, one of the most popular lands in this park. We're going to check out the food, the shopping, of course the rides, the characters. There's so much to see. I'm excited and I hope you are too. So let's get going. Yep, we are in Fantasyland today, one of the largest and most popular lands in Magic Kingdom. It is, of course, dedicated to the world of fantasy. In Walt Disney's own words, it's dedicated to the young at heart, to those who believe that when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. And I do believe that, so that must mean that Fantasyland is dedicated to me. And probably you too. Of course, an absolute staple of Fantasyland is Cinderella Castle, which is a 189-foot tall castle. Of course, it is pink now and all decked out for the 50th. This is probably the most Disney icon maybe in the whole world, and it's super cool that you can see it here in Fantasyland. One of my absolute favorite details in all of Disney World actually is inside Cinderella Castle, and I will show it to you. Well, I guess it's more under, not really inside, but it's over here. Come on. I am referring to these beautiful handcrafted glass mosaics that are located here in the castle. They are so pretty. I have pictures of myself standing in front of these from when I was like 2 years old. So they are very important to me. I love looking at them too because they are gorgeous pieces of art. And of course they tell the story of Cinderella. You've got the evil stepsisters and her evil stepmother with Cinderella cleaning, and then her transformation with the fairy godmother. Then when she flees the ball and leaves her shoe behind. This is my favorite one, is when the prince finds that the shoe fits on Cinderella's foot. And then of course they live happily ever after. There is actually a restaurant in Cinderella Castle as well, with Cinderella's Royal Table. Cinderella's Royal Table is a table service restaurant. It is a character meal as well, typically. Now, right now, that's not always the case due to the global health crisis. It's also extremely difficult to get a reservation for breakfast, lunch, or dinner at this spot. You're dining in Cinderella Castle after all. It's pretty premium real estate. In my experience, the food is usually only okay, but that's not really what you're paying for. You're more here to sit inside the castle and maybe meet some princesses. In the past, princesses spotted at this restaurant have included Ariel, Aurora, Jasmine, and Snow White, and of course Cinderella. She's usually here. Right now, that character meal is modified, but you might see a brief stop by from Cinderella while you're dining. Just keep in mind that the regular full princess meal is not going on right now. And seriously, if you want reservations for Cinderella's Royal Table, make sure you make those reservations as soon as you can, which is usually 60 days out from your trip. They go so fast. Very, very popular dining location. So just make sure you're making those reservations early if you want a spot here. Just to the left of the castle, you'll spot the Cinderella Fountain, but I'm actually seeing some familiar faces that I might want to say hi to. All right, back to Cinderella Fountain. So this is a very pretty detail here in Fantasyland, and my favorite part of it is that when you view it from up top, that crown is kind of more decorative, but if you view it from a kid's height, the crown sits right on Cinderella's head. Fantasyland also features surprise appearances from some of my favorite characters to meet. The ugly stepsisters from Cinderella. It's Drizella and Anastasia. Woo! Anastasia, have you found any eligible princes yet?
But no, because I don't want a prince.
You don't want a prince?
I don't want a Cinderella.
Okay, I see. No, that makes sense.
When you really think about it, prince and princesses don't have any power in the modern.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
A king!
A king!
That's why
You want to be a queen, yes. You heard it here first, folks. My fellow redhead Anastasia says we do not settle for princes. We're only looking for kings. So, wise words from an ugly stepsister this morning. Another wonderfully nostalgic detail in Fantasyland is the sword in the stone. I certainly have a photo of me as a very little kid trying to pull the sword out of the stone. Listen, sometimes you're just not meant to be King of England, and that's okay, but this is probably one of my favorite photo ops in all of Magic Kingdom. It tends to have a little bit of a crowd around it, and that sword actually can be pulled out. Occasionally you will see cast members bring up a chosen little one who is going to be able to pull out the sword of the stone, and they'll be able to pull it out. I haven't seen that happen in years and years and years, but it's a little extra magic. And right behind that sword in the stone is Prince Charming Regal Carousel, which is the centerpiece of Fantasyland. It is a gorgeous attraction. I mean, just totally stunning. I could probably stare at the carousel for like an hour and have no issue. The carousel was built in 1917 by the Philadelphia Toboggan Company, and it actually started life as the Liberty Carousel at Belle Isle Park in Michigan, but it was moved to Walt Disney World in 1971. So this is the oldest attraction in Disney World, and it is an absolutely historic piece of machinery. There is no height requirement for this ride, and the duration is just about 2 minutes. There are 90 wood-carved ornate horses on this ride, and lots of beautiful details on those horses. Right when you enter Fantasyland, on your right, you will find Sir Mickey's, which is a merchandise location here in Fantasyland. It's one of my favorite merchandise locations for theming, actually, and the first glimpse of that you can see in the windows. Take a look in the windows, actually any of the windows of the Fantasyland stores, and you'll probably see some pretty awesome theming. This stuff really gives me like nostalgic Disney Parks vibes, these like figures in the windows of shops. And the inside of Sir Mickey's has similar figures. See, there's the beautiful Minnie Mouse. Sir Mickey's also actually houses a portrait studio, although it is closed at this time. But this is a great stop to find like costumes and sunglasses and things you might need. There's lots of ears in here, but beautiful, beautiful princess costumes. The reason I love Sir Mickey's so much is because it is themed to Mickey and the Beanstalk, which is one of my favorite Mickey cartoons of all time. You can see Willie the Giant peeking in the roof just like he does in Mickey and the Beanstalk. And then the beanstalk actually grows through the store. You can see Mickey over there climbing it. My brother's name is Jack, and right here is where we took a lot of pictures of him as a baby because Jack and the Beanstalk. So, nostalgic store for me. My next stop is Princess Fairytale Hall, where you can meet Cinderella, Elena, Tiana, and Rapunzel. Rapunzel and Tiana are one queue, Cinderella and Elena are another. You can always meet Cinderella here every time I've seen at least, and the other princesses tend to be visiting, but this is who's been here since Princess Fairytale Hall reopened. Now, these distanced character sightings did just start. They're the closest thing we've seen to a regular character meet and greet since the parks closed last year, so it's pretty cool. I think that we should head in and say hi to one of the princesses. Hi Rapunzel, how are you?
Having the best day ever? Are you having the best day
I am. I'm absolutely having the best day ever. Hi Tiana. How are you doing? Good. Yeah, I'm doing very well. Yes. Oh, of course, yes. Meeting a princess is such a magical experience. I'm so glad that you can wait in line to do it again and not just have to hope to see him pass by in a cavalcade. Again, 2 separate queues, so one for Tiana and Rapunzel and one for Cinderella and Elena. And you can just head to both or head to the one that your littles are more interested in, whatever you want to do. Our next stop is the Friar's Nook, which is a quick service location here in Magic Kingdom. And it's a great spot to grab like loaded tots. They sometimes have hot dogs, slushies, cooler things to cool you down and things like that. One thing to keep in mind is there's no indoor seating and there's limited outdoor seating. So this is a little bit of a trickier place to find a place to sit, but it is a great place to grab a quick snack. Friar's Nook does offer mobile order, and I could go for a snack. So, oh, look at that. I just missed the good mobile order time. That's okay. We can wait just a minute. Creamy bacon macaroni and cheese tots. Don't mind if I do. Mobile order is done through the My Disney Experience app. It's super easy. You just tap the plus sign, tap order food, and then you can make your selections from the location you want to visit. Select a available pickup window, and then when you're ready, you can just hit I'm here, prepare my order, and they will go ahead and get your tots ready for you, or whatever you ordered. Just next to Friar's Nook, you'll find Storybook Treats Ice Cream, which is the soft serve ice cream location here in Fantasyland. They are a great place to check if you're looking for seasonal treats. Right now, for instance, this spot has the High Host Sundae and the Snow White Cone for Disney World's 50th. That Snow White Cone is so good. It's got lemon Dole Whip, and it is so tasty. I highly recommend lemon Dole Whip if you like lemon flavored things. But this is obviously a great place to cool off. You can usually find Dole Whip outside of Aloha Isle over in Adventureland. So if you're looking for something sweet in Fantasyland, stop by at Storybook Treats. Then we've got the coolest popcorn cart in Magic Kingdom at Maurice's amazing popping machine. This popcorn cart is themed after an invention of Belle's father, Maurice the inventor, and it is so cute. Look how themed it is. And I'll just tell you, it smells amazing right here. I'm glad I ordered tots because otherwise I would be wanting some popcorn right about now. Another beloved attraction here in Fantasyland is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. This ride is a mine train, of course. It has swinging cars where the cars actually swing side to side while you're riding. It's got a 38-inch height requirement and the duration of the ride is about 3 minutes. Now, keep in mind this does have one of the longest lines in Magic Kingdom. Actually, typically it is the longest on average. Right now there is a 70-minute wait for it. It is available as an individual attraction lightning lane purchase, or fancy rides as we like to call them, usually for around $10, although that does vary depending on the day of the week and the level of crowds in Magic Kingdom. It does change by date. The good news is that once you get a little further into the line, you will get to the interactive portion of the queue. Now, it's not completely turned on right now just to reduce touch points, but usually you can sort of help the dwarves with their mining procedures while you're going through the queue. My favorite part of this ride is when you go into the caves and you get to see the animated projected faces on the dwarves. This is one of the first instances that Disney used projected faces on their animatronics, and it looks super good in my opinion. Wait, actually, I changed my mind. My favorite part of this ride is when you get to see the original Snow White's Scary Adventures figures at the very end. You get to see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs all dancing in the cottage with the evil queen in hag form knocking on the door, and that is actually my favorite part of this ride. I used to love Snow White's Scary Adventures. I do miss it a lot, and so I love that you do get to see it when you ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So I opted for the bacon mac and cheese tots, which are of course tots on top of mac and cheese with sour cream, bacon, and scallions. They look super hearty and super good. I'm excited to try them. Now, can I successfully get a bite with a little bit of everything? Cheers. About as good as you would expect them to be. The big winner here is the texture, because you've got the creamy, delicious mac and cheese and sour cream, and then you've got crunchy bacon bits, crunchy warm tots. Super good. This is very filling. I would consider this a shareable snack or large enough to be a meal. This is going to be my lunch. So I am a fan of this. The other great thing about Friar's Nook is that because it doesn't have like the full dining area, it's not as busy as some other locations like Pecos Bill or Cosmic Rays. So if those places are super, super busy and you are starving, Friar's Nook is a great option. And I'd get these tots again. So. Alright, my next stop is the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is, of course, a Winnie the Pooh themed dark ride. It's adorable. You ride in a honey pot. You see all of the Winnie the Pooh pals, the 100 Acre Woods folks, and Huffalumps and Woozles, who are pretty scary. This ride infamously replaced Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which was an iconic opening day attraction here in Magic Kingdom. Don't tell my friend Duckfist, he loves Mr. Toad's, but I do prefer the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I don't remember Mr. Toad that well, but I love Winnie the Pooh and I love this ride. The waits do tend to fluctuate between around 20 and around 45 minutes. There also used to be a place for friends to meet, which is where you could meet some Winnie the Pooh pals here. Unfortunately, that of course has not returned since the park closures last year, but hopefully it will. The queue here also has a little bit of a playground element to it for littles to get some of that energy out while they're waiting to head into the story of the blustery day. This ride is available with Genie Plus as a lightning lane. It has no height requirement, and it's gonna be about a 3-minute ride altogether. Let's hop in a honey pot and take a spin. After you've had a delightful time on the Winnie the Pooh ride, you exit in 100 Acre Goods, which is a great spot to find a lot of Winnie the Pooh merchandise. There's candy in here, pins, lots of great stuff for little ones too in this store. Alright, our next ride is Mad Tea Party, which is a 2-minute no height requirement whirl in a teacup. It's based on the Mad Hatter Party sequence from Alice in Wonderland, of course, as you can probably tell from appearances from the Dormouse on the ride. And of course, Magic Kingdom's version is modeled after the original 1955 Mad Teacups from Disneyland. One thing to keep in mind is that you do control the spin, so if you want to spin a lot, you can. If you don't want to spin a lot, you don't have to. But I think we should go for a whirl. I could use some tea. Thirsty. Pre-closure, you could also typically meet some characters from Alice in Wonderland, usually Alice around Mad Tea Party. That hasn't happened since the closure, but hopefully it could happen again. Just across from Mad Tea Party is Cheshire Cafe, which is a very small quick service restaurant. They usually have things like slushies and stuff to help cool you down on a hot day, but they also have the famous Cheshire Cattail. That Cheshire Cattail is a twisty pink and purple chocolate pastry. It is so tasty. It's a great sweeter breakfast option as well. So that's a good option if you're looking for a more iconic but less gotten like a Mickey bar treat. And it might look like we're in Tomorrowland, but there are actually a few more sections of Fantasyland over here as well. So first up, we've got Fairytale Garden through these trees right here. So Fairytale Garden is the location where you can meet Merida. Typically, this meet and greet has not yet returned from the closures, but when it does, you'll be able to meet Merida, talk to her about her adventures and maybe her archery. Right over here, we're going to take a quick detour past Fairytale Garden to check out a very neat detail, which I would consider part of Fantasyland. This is Cinderella's wishing well, which is a very beautiful wishing well located kind of off to the side of Cinderella Castle, which is right over there. And this is a really pretty spot. I definitely met Cinderella here when I was a kid, which is really cool. But right now they've got a PhotoPass photographer out to take some pics if you'd like them. That's not always the case, but you can always make a wish here. On the backside of Cheshire Cafe, you will find one of the bathrooms of Fantasyland. There are 4 bathrooms in Fantasyland. So big lands, number of bathrooms. These ones do tend to be a little bit less busy over here by Cheshire Cafe. But they can get busy just because of people waiting for their mobile orders at Cosmic Rays and things like that. I hope you're feeling circusy. We're going to Storybook Circus. Storybook Circus has its own popcorn carts, which looks like little circus wagons, which are super cute. So if you want some popcorn, you can grab it over here as well, just outside the gates of Storybook Circus. So Storybook Circus is an extra area of Fantasyland. It did replace Mickey's Toontown Fair, which I was very sad about when it happened, but Storybook Circus is adorable, so I do understand. It is more geared towards younger families with littler kids, but it's a very well-themed area overall in general, and it is, of course, home to the iconic Dumbo the Flying Elephant attraction. So Dumbo the Flying Elephant is a 2-minute flight on everyone's favorite elephant, Dumbo, of course. Probably the whole reason this area is now circus themed. There is no height requirement for this ride, and it runs about 2 minutes. It's an absolutely iconic Disney attraction. I think pretty much every Disney fan who came here as a kid probably has a photo of them smiling from their very own Dumbo. When Dumbo got added to Storybook Circus during the refurbishment of Fantasyland, they did add a second Dumbo attraction so that the lines move a little bit faster since this ride is so popular. You can adjust your height during this attraction with a little lever that's located in each elephant, so you can fly as high or low as you like, or change height as much as you want. Of course, this ride is very similar to the magic carts of Aladdin over in Adventureland and Triceratops Spin over at Animal Kingdom. Both of those, however, are just sort of second to the Dumbo ride in most people's opinions. Another very cool thing about the Dumbo attraction is that it does feature an entire playground in the waiting area so that you can play while you wait, so your littles can play, parents can rest in the air conditioning. It's very, very neat. Update, I think I'm better at flying an elephant than I am at flying a magic carpet. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Dumbo is certainly a must-do at least once, just because it is a historic attraction. It's big, like, I mean, it's on like Disney posters, it's like Dumbo. It's iconic, so definitely a must-do at least once. But those Dumbo-style rides are all pretty similar, so if you get on one of them, pretty much get on all of them. There are a couple details I really love about Storybook Circus. One of those details are the animal prints in the ground, and if you look closely, you might spot a few peanuts embedded in the ground as well. An attraction that kiddos super love is the Casey Jr. Splash and Soak Station. Listen, you can put kids on roller coasters all day, on dark rides, but something about getting blasted in the face with a stream of water. Kids just love that. This area is of course themed after the circus train from Dumbo. And something that I really like about it are that the carts each have a number on them, and those numbers correspond to the opening years for the Disney World theme parks. 98, that's Animal Kingdom. Occasionally the Casey Jr. Railroad Mercantile is open. It is not right now, but that's a great place to grab some necessities that you might need. And there are restrooms in Storybook Circus. These ones do tend to be a little busier because they are the only restrooms in this area of the park, this back corner, so they can get busy. And there is actually a roller coaster back here as well with the Barnstormer featuring Goofy as the Great Goofini, of course. This attraction is rethemed from what Barnstormer used to be, which was more just a plane ride. It's still a plane ride, it's just now there's also a magician. I don't know, you follow. Oh my gosh, look at this chicken. This coaster has a 35-inch height requirement, and it is just 1 minute. It's a more short, gentle kids roller coaster. It's a great starting coaster if you want to introduce your kiddo to roller coasters. I have to say, I absolutely loved it when I was a kid. I have a specific memory of my brother and I riding it over and over and over again because there wasn't a wait, and that was super fun. This is not technically Fantasyland, but I'm over here, so you can get a really good view of the construction on Tron Light Cycle Run from over behind Barnstormer back in Storybook Circus. So this is an upcoming attraction. You can learn a lot more about it in my Tomorrowland tour. You will ride on light cycles, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty big roller coaster. So I am super excited to ride it whenever it opens. Disney has not announced an opening date yet, though, unfortunately. Stop in Storybook Circus is Big Top Souvenirs, which is a fairly large merchandise location here in Fantasyland. And bonus, they have a bakery case. So this is a combination merchandise and snack spot. It's a great place to stop by for essentials. They've got towels, they've got ears, they've got fans and things like that. And then on top of that, they've got Big Top Treats, where you can find circus snacks, like this beautiful bakery case of treats. Got Goofy's Glaciers, popcorn, cotton candy. Caramel apples are one of my favorites, so that's what I would get if I were coming in here. And just like the rest of Storybook Circus, the registers and everything are themed like these beautiful circus carts. Storybook Circus is also home to the Fantasyland station of the Walt Disney World Railroad. Now, the Walt Disney World Railroad is not running currently. It has not been for some time now due to the construction over on Tron Light Cycle Run. But when it does run again, you'll be able to take it between here, Frontierland, and Main Street USA. Also, fun fact, you'll notice it says Carrollwood Park up there. That's where Storybook Circus is located. And you're like, huh, well, what does Carrollwood Park mean? It's actually a reference to Walt Disney's own backyard train, which he named after the street he lived on. He called it the Carrollwood Pacific Railway, I believe. So Carrollwood is a reference to Walt's own trains. The only other attraction in Storybook Circus is Pete's Silly Sideshow, which is typically a very popular character meet and greet area. I absolutely love this because there are so many references to circus acts from older Disney films like Humphrey the Unicycling Bear, Lambert the Man-Eater, Lambert the Lion. He's so cute. Sheepish. Before the closure, Pete's Silly Sideshow was a great place to meet iconic Disney characters. So before the closure, you could of course meet Mickey on Main Street USA, which you can still do now, but you couldn't meet the other characters over on Main Street. If you want to meet Donald, Minnie, Daisy, and Goofy, you could head up here. Of course, they were in circus-themed outfits, so you would meet the Great Goofini, the Astounding Donaldo, Minnie Magnifique, and Madame Daisy Fortuna. So you could meet all of those characters up here at Pete's Silly Sideshow. Hopefully this meet and greet will return soon, but we will definitely be keeping an eye on it. Check in on All Ears Net for any updates about this area. There is a snack cart up here as well with some staples like cotton candy and glazed nuts, but it is not open today. So that's up here. Might be open during your visit. And that does it for Storybook Circus. So we are on to the next section of Fantasyland. So if you get past Seven Dwarfs Mine Train over to where you'll see Prince Eric's Castle and Beast Castle, You are in New Fantasyland, which all came with the refurbishment of this land in 2012, I believe. So this is all a newer section, and there's a lot to see and do here, and the theming is amazing. Unavailable right now, but pre-closure you could meet Ariel at Ariel's Grotto. This is one of my favorite meet and greets. One, Ariel's Grotto is super cool. It really feels like you're underwater. And two, unsurprisingly, as a little kid, I did love Ariel, fellow redhead. And I met her actually pretty recently when I was like 18, so a couple years ago. And we swapped dingle hopper tips, which is how I keep my hairbrush now. Just across the way, you'll find H Goff Cartography, which is a Disney Vacation Club info center that is themed around a mat shop. It's got this really cool King Triton statue up front. And I actually recommend a detour in here just because the theming is really impressive for a DVC stand. But there's actually some games that kiddos can play while mom and dad are talking about the Disney Vacation Club timeshare program. And you can also see some like sketches of the King Triton statue and some of the development of the Little Mermaid ride across the way. Back here you can also find Prince Eric's Village Market. This is a great snack stand. You can find things like pretzels, fruit. They have turkey legs if that's what you're into. I am not into that, but they do have it. Oh my gosh, they have pickles. I love pickles. And you can also typically find some Little Mermaid themed treats here. Right now they have the mermaid slushie that has Ariel's tail poking right out of it. And speaking of the Little Mermaid, right across the way you will find Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid, which is a dark ride that features the story of Ariel and Prince Eric. The outside of this ride is pretty eye-catching as it is another castle added to Fantasyland with Prince Eric's castle. You'll wait in a queue that winds through seaside rocks. You'll help Scuttle sort some of his human objects that he collects, which is super fun in that interactive queue. There is no height requirement on this ride, and it does have about a 7-minute duration where you'll go through the story of the Little Mermaid and get to hear a lot of those iconic songs. It's got really immersive special effects, and a lot of the sequences in it are hand-drawn animation, which is super cool since you don't see a lot of hand-drawn animation in media anymore. My favorite part of this ride is when you get to see Ursula the Sea Witch. She is 7 feet tall, 7.5 feet tall, and 12 feet wide. She's huge, and the animatronic is so cool. It's so lifelike. Molly does not like this ride because of how scary Ursula is, because they did such a good job with her, but Ursula is my favorite part. She looks really neat. So one super cool thing about the queue for Under the Sea Journey of the Little Mermaid is there is actually one of the most hidden Mickeys in all of Disney World in here. There is a hidden Mickey that is made from the hole in the rocks, shining sunlight down on the wall of the queue. It only happens once a year on Mickey's birthday, and it only happens at noon for about 6 or 7 minutes. Today is Mickey's birthday. Luckily, I did not plan that. I have a button to celebrate. And hopefully, I will catch this hidden Mickey. If you're looking for that hidden Mickey, it's in the corner of the queue. There's a good group of people here looking for it as well. And it shines through from the crags in the ceiling above. But it's pretty cloudy today, so we'll see if anything actually comes through. So you can see that this rock here makes Mickey's ears, and there's a higher up rock that makes the rest of Mickey's head. All right, it's noon exactly, and it looks like we've got no dice. It is not bright enough. There's no Mickey on the wall yet, but maybe a Mickey miracle will happen in the next 5 minutes while it's possible. Mickey, happy birthday to you. Woo! Well, that's cute. People saying happy birthday to Mickey. Past this little mermaid area, you end up in a Beauty and the Beast section. This area features Gaston's Tavern, a quick service location, this amazing Gaston and Le Fou fountain, which is a tribute to Gaston from Gaston. And then it's also got Bonjour Village Gifts, which is a gift shop. Pre-closure, you could also find Gaston over here a lot of the time as a meet and greet, which is super neat. We love a villain meet and greet. And if you head towards the back of this very cute themed area, you'll find some restrooms. Now these do tend to be a little less busy than the busiest Fantasyland restrooms just because they are tucked back here, but they are the restrooms for Gaston's Tavern, so around lunchtime they can get busier. I think this area absolutely feels like you are walking in the Beauty and the Beast film in wherever Belle lives in France, and I love coming back here just because they did such a good job with all the details. We can pop on into Bonjour Village Gifts, which you can see Mrs. Potts and Chip in the window. Bonjour Village Gifts has more recently become a art-focused store where you can find a lot of amazing Disney art and figures from some very talented artists. Some artist signing coming up. It is certainly a wonderful place if you are looking for a new piece of art for your home or maybe a really nice gift for someone. Pop on into Bonjour Village Gifts. And let's pop into Gaston's Tavern. Tell you a little bit more about that, and you can see the really cool theming in here. Gaston's is a snack location. Their two iconic eats are LeFou's Brew and the warm cinnamon roll, which is huge and covered in icing. If you're an icing fan, I recommend asking for a cup of extra icing because you're gonna want it. And this does look just like the room where they sing Gaston in the movie. All of the chandeliers are made from antlers or featuring antlers. And then there is a chandelier that's made completely from antlers. That is amazing. Of course, you've got Gaston above the fireplace in all his glory, where I'm sure he believes he belongs. There's a dartboard in here, and Gaston's score is like 45, and LeFou's is 5. Although, good on LeFou for winning 5 times. I did get a colossal cinnamon roll, because it's about dessert time after my tots lunch, and what did I say? My hand for reference. Look how big it is. Cinnamon roll time. Certainly shareable. It's huge. I mean, unless you're a cinnamon roll fiend, which maybe you are. This is so good. This is a really great, another sweet breakfast option here in Fantasyland. It's an awesome way to just get a nice sweet fix. It's warm. It's like super doughy. The cinnamon roll itself isn't overly sweet, so the icing doesn't like put it over the top or anything. And again, if you're an icing fan, ask for extra icing because this thing is really big and you might want more than that little drizzle on top. Continuing on in the Beauty and the Beast area, you might spot another castle in the distance, Beast Castle at Be Our Guest restaurant. This is an extremely popular restaurant here in Magic Kingdom, another one that is almost impossible to get reservations for. Make sure you're making them as soon as you can if you would like to go. This restaurant used to serve table service, lunch, and dinner, and a quick service table service hybrid situation for breakfast. Right now, though, it does only serve lunch and dinner, and both meals feature a prefix menu. There are 3 dining areas. There's the ballroom, the West Wing, and the Rose Gallery. They are amazingly themed. If you want to feel like you're walking into a movie in Disney World, Be Our Guest is the place to do it. You feel like you're standing in Beauty and the Beast. It is amazing the first time you do it. It is certainly a must try at least once. The food is not my favorite, or really anyone's favorite, I think, but the food is good, and you have this amazing dining location, so that's what people really book the reservation for. The one thing you should definitely try if you're at Be Our Guest is the gray stuff. A little candlestick told me that it's delicious, so keep that in mind. My favorite detail about Be Our Guest is that the music actually plays a huge role in this restaurant. When you are in the ballroom, you'll hear music from the film that is a 50-piece orchestra. In the West Wing, it's the same music but with a spookier arrangement. And in the Rose Gallery, it's the same music with the music box arrangement, and it's all synced up. So when you walk from room to room, you don't hear a change in music because the same song is playing. But if you listen, you're hearing different arrangements of the same song, which is so neat. I also really like watching the animated snow fall out of the windows in the ballroom. And there is one more Beauty and the Beast themed attraction here in Fantasyland, and that is Enchanted Tales with Belle, where you can head to Belle and her father Maurice's house and hear a story from Belle herself. This attraction has yet to reopen from its closure, but when it is open, you head inside to Maurice's workshop, journey through an enchanted mirror, and meet Belle in her library, and she tells you the story of Beauty and the Beast. What's really neat about this attraction is it is interactive, so littles and actually people of all ages might be asked to play roles in the story, which is super fun. And there's actually amazing effects in here, so even if you don't have littles, it's worth doing at least once to check out that amazing enchanted mirror and also to see the Lumiere animatronic, which is really popular. This attraction doesn't have a height requirement because it is just a show, and it lasts about 20 minutes when it's open. All right, I'm headed back into the original Fantasyland area now to go this way. Wow, you guys, earlier I said there were 4 bathrooms and I lied. There are actually 5 because I forgot about these ones over here. So I don't know if other people are like me and also forget about them. No, they look pretty busy, but there are restrooms by Pinocchio Village House as well. Speaking of Pinocchio Village House, this is another quick service restaurant here in Fantasyland. This one is fairly popular. It is themed around Pinocchio, of course, and you can see with that beautiful, whimsical German theming on the outside of the building. This restaurant does have a good amount of indoor and outdoor seating, and much of the indoor seating actually looks out over It's a Small World. So that's really unique that you have a view of an attraction while you're dining here. You also want to check out the walls while you're eating to see some beautiful artwork from Pinocchio. Very historic feeling because that is like the second full-length feature animated film from Disney. This spot mostly features flatbreads and salads and things like that. So if you're craving either, it's a good place to head. Not anything revolutionary. It's certainly not the best quick service in Magic Kingdom, but it does have a very beautiful theme and is a great place to go. Plus, a lot of seating, which is good if you don't want to stand while you eat. Our next stop is another amazingly historic and iconic attraction. It's a Small World. You've probably heard of it. You've probably had the song stuck in your head. I have it stuck in my head at all times. If you look at me, I probably have It's a Small World stuck in my head. This attraction features audio animatronic dolls representing kiddos from all over the world that serenade you with the It's a Small World song. You've heard it. It's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. It has no height requirement and about a 10-minute duration, provided you don't get stuck on it for an hour like Molly did, although that is not very common. The Disneyland version of this was actually originally created for the 1964-1965 New York World's Fair. It was personally overseen by Walt Disney in support of the United Nations Children's Fund. And then in 1971, they recreated it to become an opening day attraction here at Magic Kingdom. And to this day it remains. That earworm of a song, It's a Small World, was actually written by the Sherman Brothers, who are an extremely accomplished songwriting duo that did a lot of music for Disney, including much of the music in Mary Poppins and a lot of other things as well. And this attraction is chock full of work by Disney legends. Mary Blair, who is one of Disney's artists, did much of the concept work for It's a Small World, and you can certainly tell that her design has influenced it. That's why many people love it, is because they're huge Mary Blair fans, and the art is very, very well represented in It's a Small World. And the legendary Disney seamstress Alice Davis made 300 costumes for this with authentic materials for all those little dolls. So lots and lots and lots of Disney legends were involved in the creation of the original It's a Small World. It is a historic attraction. If you're a Disney fan at all, it is certainly a must-do at least once. But that song will get stuck in your head. I won't sugarcoat it. It will. And now on to the most popular bathrooms in Magic Kingdom and probably in all of Disney World. It's the Tangled Bathrooms. These restrooms were added with the Fantasyland refurb, and as you can probably tell, they are themed to the Kingdom of Corona, where Rapunzel is from, and has a lot of really beautiful details to this. The ladies' restroom is themed to Rapunzel's tower, and you can see a lot of Rapunzel's paint supplies and murals inside that restroom. And then as you can see from some of these posters out here, the men's restroom is themed to the Lucky Duckling? Ugly Duckling? What's it called? That pub. And that's pretty cool too. I've never been in there, obviously. The detail here is amazing. That is an apple that has been bit by Flynn Rider's horse Maximus. And there's actually a scavenger hunt where you can look for hidden Pascals that is surprisingly difficult around these bathrooms. So, you know, there's one of them up on that post right up there. Very hard to see. Pascal's a chameleon after all, but you know, if one of your loved ones taking a long time in the bathroom, start looking for Pascals, I guess. And of course, you can see Rapunzel's tower beautifully in the distance from these restrooms as well. Fantasyland is located sandwiched between Tomorrowland and Liberty Square. And we're on the Liberty Square side right now, right next to the Tangled restrooms. You can pass right over to where Haunted Mansion is. Just across from It's a Small World, you'll find another iconic attraction with Peter Pan's Flight. This ride is a very historic attraction. It is an opening attraction here as well. Fantasyland is full of those. And it, of course, takes you through the story of Peter Pan in your very own flying pirate ship. I love this ride because I think it's just charming. It's very nostalgic. I absolutely love the part where you fly over Tiny London. Who doesn't love flying over Tiny London? It has no height requirement and the ride does take about 2 minutes, but be warned, especially right now, this attraction can have some of the longest lines in all of Magic Kingdom. It is available with the Lightning Lane, but I mean, right now it's a 70-minute wait. Whew. Now that wait that wait's a long time, but there is an interactive queue that makes it a little better where you actually get to head inside the Darling's house and see Tinkerbell and play with some magical shadows, just like in Peter Pan, which is super cool. Of course, it is inspired by Walt Disney's 1953 animated classic Peter Pan, which was based on J.M. Barrie's play and book of the same name. And you'll get to see all those iconic characters, Wendy and Peter, the Lost Boys, Captain Hook and Mr. Smee, all of them. And like It's a Small World, Peter Pan's flight is modeled after the original attraction that opened on 1955 in Disneyland. We have one more stop, which for me is actually the stop I'm most excited for today. But first, let's swing on inside the merchandise shop, Fantasy Faire. So Fantasy Faire is the merchandise shop that Mickey's PhilharMagic exits into. You can find a lot of headwear in here. This is a big ears shop, a big hat shop. You can even get your ears and hats customized in here, which this is only one of a few locations that do that. And it's got Donald all tangled up in brass instruments on the ceiling. Great place to find Fantasyland merch. Definitely pop in here if you're looking for a new hat, because that is what they have most of. And giant lollipops. Who doesn't want one of those? Oh my gosh, they have It's a Small World on vinyl. Look how beautiful that record is. But Mickey's PhilharMagic is actually our final attraction stop in Magic Kingdom today, which I am so excited about for a very good reason. If you've watched our channel before, you might know that Coco is one of my favorite movies of all time. And Mickey's PhilharMagic actually just got an update to add a Coco scene where you get to see Miguel and Hector sing with Donald, who's my favorite Fab Five member. So I am seeing it for the first time today, and I will probably cry. Mickey's PhilharMagic is a 3D movie experience that features Donald Duck. The movie is on a 150-foot wide, 180-degree seamless wraparound screen, which is really cool for 3D movies. It features the largest collection of Disney characters ever shown on screen together in one work, and it is the first time that Mickey Mouse was ever rendered in 3D. And heads up, there might be a few magical surprises throughout the show, so just be aware that you might feel some kid-friendly effects. The Coco scene was so good. I'm so happy. If you need me, look for me on PhilharMagic, because that's probably where I'm going to be for the next rest of my life. All right. The last few things we gotta look at in Fantasyland are not actually available right now, but we've got Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and around the corner Castle Couture, which is connected to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Prior to the closure, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique was a place where little kiddos could get made over into princesses, and Castle Couture had a lot of those princess options as well. It has yet to reopen, but keep an eye on allears.net, and we'll let you know if we do see a return date for it. Right, and it is now raining, but luckily we made it through every single thing in Fantasyland today. I hope you guys had an amazing time. I had so much fun. I got to see Coco in PhilharMagic. It was awesome. Let me know in the comments where you want to see me go next. I can tour any land in any of the parks in Disney World. And if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. As always, you can follow us on social media at allearsnet. And until next time, I'm Quincy, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Want more All Ears videos? Click here. And want to subscribe? You can do that right here. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you real soon.